Hello, America, and welcome back to another episode of What They Don't Say. And here we go. Everything you're going to hear here is what you're not hearing in media. All of it's true. I hope you're going to agree with it. But right now, so much is happening so fast, it can be difficult trying to get a grasp on what all of it means as we move ahead. Questions are coming up, and they should, because we're only 2 days into the Iranian regime change. What does it mean to global trade, supply chains, trade in the stock markets? Will we need boots on the ground? What will China and Russia do? Is this going to escalate? How will the rest of the world react to witnessing another example of U.S. military power and the brilliance of their strategic operations? This is a big reset button of world order, and changes in the global mentality will reverberate far beyond the theater of the Middle East operations. It is truly a reset button. Global politics just got rebooted. Trump has become the liberator in chief, using the power of the world's greatest nation to free millions of people from tyrants who cause problems the rest of the world did not want or need. They've been doing it for a long time. It needed to stop. Two natural traits of the human psyche are to value freedom and despise evil. Today, the world is celebrating both of those traits with the Iranian people. While detractors of the perpetual TDS crowd cry foul, Iranians are doing the Trump dance everywhere they live. They're out in the streets. They're putting up TikTok videos. They've adopted the Trump dance. They're wearing hats that say MAGA, Make Iran Great Again. They're carrying signs. God bless Trump. God bless America. This is good. This is huge. What the haters fail to realize is we did not start a new war against Iran. We are not at war with the Iranian people. This glorious U.S.-Israel operation is just an attack on the heart and soul of international terrorism, and that is a war we've already been in for a long time. The difference now is we have our first president who knew exactly what the real problem is and what to do about it. We have the military technical capabilities and the right people in charge to do an excellent job of it. Let's all give a round of applause to Rubio, Hegseth, and General Raising Cane for the great job they're all doing. What they have achieved so far is stunning and it's historical. You can bet that China, Russia, and North Korea, they've been watching intently while thinking, damn, they did it again. America's on a whole nother level, and there's nothing we can do about it. That is exactly why there's been so much foreign interference in our elections, infiltration of our educational and political processes, the media, the takeover of the Demon Rat Party, backroom support for U.S. politicians eager to serve the globalist agenda. They knew we could not be defeated militarily if our war structure was well run. They worked for decades to weaken us from the top down, from the inside out. They've had a lot of success and never guessed the Trump administration would rise to this occasion and jump into the ring to knock out the old champions who felt safe in their strongholds and power. Trump has literally become the Mike Tyson of the battle of good versus evil wherever its tyranny exists. It's the human in him. It's the businessman in him. Tyrants do awful things to their own people, and while they do, they're bad for business. It's really that simple in a nutshell. So, here we are. Yes, the markets and oil prices will take a temporary hit. That always happens with a conflict that rattles emotions of the anxiety-riddled minds of the market traders. That will pass when their adrenaline rush subsides and the heads start to look around at reality. We haven't heard much from China and Russia yet. Putin did come out quickly with a statement about illegal wars and our bully attack on a sovereign nation. He sounded identical to our demon rat politicians, exact same words. He's got some nerve making such accusations while in his fourth year of brutality in Ukraine. Nothing he says along those lines carries any kind of credibility. The whole world knows it. Now, China, the big player in the modern axis of evil with Russia, North Korea, and Iran, that's China. All of us have speculated for years about how they would all unite as allies in defense of each other if push came to shove. Just how deep is that love? How strong are those ties? There are baseless rumors right now that are circulating saying that China is in trouble because in 60 days Trump took away their petroleum supply via Iran and Venezuela. They say Russia is damaged because they relied on Iran for military attack, drones, parts, intel, and more. That talk is nonsense. We don't know yet how they'll respond after time to assess and ponder their next move. It just began. They haven't had time to really assess it and decide what they can do. What we do know is Russia has plenty of technology of their own. There's a global market for weapons. China and the North Koreans, they can supply tech, and maybe Putin is already wanting an excuse to ease off in Ukraine. We don't know. As for China hurting for oil, there's plenty of that in the global markets too. Here's what people forget. China doesn't love anybody but China. They are singularly focused and they have no motivation to do good for the greater world society. They never have. They didn't start under Z. They have no compunction of morality, nudging them to be part of anything more than China. They were buying oil in mass quantities from Iran and Venezuela because we had sanctions on that trade the rest of the world adhered to. China doesn't give a rat's ass about U.S. sanctions, so they went in and said, all right, America won't let you sell oil. We'll take it, but it's going to be at a big discount. They made Iran and Venezuela their personal Timus of the oil markets. China does not get in trade relationships out of brotherly love and alliances. They are all about the gold. Their relationships are purely transactional. If they can profit, they'll deal. If they can't, they move on. You're of no use to them. No tears over the breakup. Here's something all the analysts are missing. If China and Russia wanted to make a power play, they could very easily do it. We all know Europe is laying low and speaking in whispers about our strikes on Iran. Europe relies on Russia for a lot of energy. They need Russian oil. If they trigger Putin and he gets upset with them, wants to make another power play, he can cut off the oil into Europe, sell it to China. Would that serve their interests? It's a lot of risk and destabilization to risk for Iran when everyone knows there's no more advantages to a relationship with Iran's old power structure. There is nothing to gain by supporting leadership when that ship is sunk. Again, China is transactional, and the IRGC isn't transactionating anymore. The Liberator-in-Chief turned off the lights over that cash register in one short weekend. It was nice while it lasted. China isn't worried about Iran or the corpse of its old system. China is looking at how to position for other arrangements they can profit through. This Iran operation won't be over quickly. Boots on the ground are necessary, but not ours. Even if we did send 1 million soldiers in, what would they be looking for? Iran doesn't have a standing army in the streets that we could confront or meet on the beach. We can't wander around hunting IRGC troops who would just change out of their uniforms and vanish into the crowds. We don't know who they are. The people of Iran are the boots on the ground. 80% of them want the job done. There's still 10 to 13 million people that still are lamenting the loss of the great supreme leader. I can't believe these idiots. There are a lot of videos circulating. There are women in the streets wrapped tight in their burqas, reveling in their oppression, outraged because they've lost a supreme leader that kept them down. I mean, these people, they're lunatics, but they're there, and they are scrappy. But the people of Iran know who is who and where they live. This is their job. We just need to help with the intel and taking out the rest of the missiles and the other arms that we can locate by the sneaky methods we already use. We've got some great intel people. So does Israel. You can bet the Mossad of Israel still has some intel tricks up their sleeves. They're good. So now the end isn't in sight yet, but it's coming. It can't be scheduled or announced because the situation is still new. It's still dangerous and it's still fluid. I have absolute faith in the people on our side who have already proven that they are up to the job. They've proven it more than once now. For us in Europe, the real concern is the terrorist lunatics all Western nations open their arms and borders to. That is a mistake with consequences, and all we can do is watch, pray, and be cautious in potential target zones. We do know that those people between China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran, somebody among them, all of them probably at some level, they've got the capabilities of doing cyber strikes. There were some cyber attacks a couple of years ago on some U.S. businesses. We never knew for sure if it came from North Korea, Iran, somebody inside America. You can hide those attacks so it's impossible to trace where they actually come from. But there's been a lot of cyber attacks that have already happened between elements in the Middle East. We've got that potential. We've got to worry about it. We've got to be watchful for it. There's not much you can do except when something goes down on the internet, when businesses go down, when banks get hacked or whatever. You can adjust, you can adapt, you can fix it afterwards. But in the meantime, it's just something that might happen, and there isn't much we can do about it until it does. The cyber attacks are a very real possibility. Our universities and government buildings are obvious areas of interest, but we just saw a bar in a neighborhood in Austin, Texas, shot up by one of those Islamic terror nuts. Free societies are vulnerable by nature, so do your own thinking, do your own watching. It's an interesting time to be alive, but our liberator in chief just took the world many steps back from the brink of World War III. That is undeniable. Take time to appreciate that fact as we all watch for the next moves from the players. There's going to be a lot of things changing. There could be some sad things. We could lose the ship. We could lose a lot more people. It's dangerous. It had to be done because one thing is assured. Had that regime been allowed to stay in place, we'd have continued to lose people around the world like we already have. We'd have never known when their next attack was coming inside America. This had to be done. It's being done very well. Good things are happening in a world that was starving for good news. Support it. Get it right. And maybe God will continue to bless this great country of ours. Thanks for listening.